Well, here we are on another Monday when the world is ending and we're creating joy. That's what we're up to. Oh my. So one of the things that was occurring to me, I'm returning to a focus that has been a source of joy for me all my life, and that is integrating movement with our intentions and integrating consciousness with our movement. So, bringing what Gay sometimes calls bringing your consciousness to your muscles, getting your if movement itself were could create consciousness, we'd have a whole bunch of enlightened athletes. So, and I've noticed that, in the years that I've been working and exploring, we started out with people were not moving very much at all. And about 15 years ago, movement really re-entered the collective. And how I knew that was that people were using, commercials were using movement to sell things rather than sex to sell things. I don't know if you remember the girl in the bikini leaning over the car, and that was how things used to get sold. And I remember the first time someone stopped it. They were in some kind of a car, which of course I don't remember that was what they were selling, but they stopped at a stoplight and the person started moving inside the car, and then I think somebody else that was in another car passing started moving, and I got so excited because people were moving. And what I've realized, though, is that movement, if it's not connected to your intention, that your attention and your intention is not connected to your movement, that you're simply going to be doing surface, kind of skating over the surface of your emotions, skating over the surface of the environment. And so my how I wanted to make sure we incorporate that into our loop of awareness is to first let your attention, when you give attention to yourself, notice how do you do that? Because usually attention is connected to our eyeballs. And I think that's part of the problem now, because our eyeballs have been snatched by advertisers and by smartphones. And so if you're just shifting attention with your eyeballs, you're much more likely to lose the sense of presence inside yourself. But when you give what I call whole body attention to yourself, and I'd like you to experiment with that, because part of this is how do you do that? The actual, when you're giving attention to yourself. So for me, when I give attention to myself, I can feel the flow. It's really, I'm sensing into my body. And I can sense into and feel, that is, I can experience the movement that's going on in my body. So I can experience the flow of energy. I can experience places in my body where I feel a little denser and there's more flow. And so those, when I'm giving attention, that's what I'm tuning into. And I'm just very curious about having you explore what would it be like to give yourself whole body attention. So one of the ways you might think of that is a shower of attention. So your attention flows over you and down you. It's one of the reasons that I think showers are so refreshing, because they're creating the movement across your body. So because many people are basically not in their bodies. And so for me, loop of awareness, one of its primary functions is that you presence yourself, that you can give rich attention to yourself. And when you do that, I find when I do that, that my body wants to respond. So the the shift that I want to play with today is letting yourself turn your attention toward you, letting that land in whatever way that lands for you, and then letting your body respond. So turning toward, noticing, landing, and then letting your body respond. That's the letting your body respond. My experience is that gets squashed out, stopped, shamed, frozen, put into fear, into contempt. So letting your body respond, I think, is a revolutionary move, and I want to encourage all of us to do that, so that and especially for women, we've shifted from that is humans have shifted in their looking at women, so to instead of feeling what's going on, we look at ourselves from the outside, like, are you going to wear that? And and that doesn't go with anything. And so the shift to feeling yourself, letting your attention land in you, is a revolutionary act of responsibility. You're taking responsibility for how you are in the world and for your own authenticity. So what I want to have you play with is giving attention to you, letting it land, and then letting your body respond. So you can get curious about, how does my body want to respond? It might have a big response, it might have just a little response, and then you can let your attention shift out. Instead of out into the world, I'd love to have you have it shift out into noticing somebody else on the call. So you're letting your attention shift out, you're letting it land on the person, and then you're letting your body respond to what your attention is doing as it's landing over there with that other person. And then bringing it back to you, letting it land, letting your body respond, and letting yourself go back and forth. Let yourself do that several times, where you let your attention turn toward another person, you let it flow over that person, and then you let your body respond to what you're noticing and experiencing over there. And in that way, we are weaving our consciousness. We're creating what scientists will call quantum entanglements, and that means we have touched each other. And if we have touched each other, I can, for example, give my attention to you, even though we're not in the same space. We are able to feel connected even when we're not in person. And I think that's so important for us all right now, that we feel connected to that. There's a difference also, I think, between fitting in and belonging. And fitting in, if you do everything, you come in, you sit properly, and you pay attention, but you can't really receive that attention because you're not letting your body respond. And that's, I think, a lot of how society controls us, because if you don't move, you can't feel. And if you can't feel, you're much more controllable. And so our quiet, or maybe not so quiet, revolution is to let our spontaneity be visible in the world, letting our authenticity have impact in the world. And just with that simple move of turning toward, flowing toward, letting it land, and then letting your body respond. So as I've been doing that, I'm experiencing more flow of aliveness. My toes just started wiggling. They'd been a little, it's cold out here, but now they're wiggling. And you get to own more of the flow of energy in you, which allows you to be more responsive. So responding to rather than reacting. So as you're doing this, I'd like you to just notice if there's some place that's wanting your attention, if there's a particular kind of spontaneous movement that your body makes where you go, oh, haven't done that before. If you see something, this is also why I love to play in groups, because if you see something that somebody's doing, you go, oh, that's cool, I want to try that on. And then we can share our explorations and our openings. Now, the other part of this, because I can feel myself revving up, notice if your attention is coming from the flow of energy or the flow of adrenaline. So, and each of them can be bead with. You can presence your flow of aliveness, no matter what kind of shape it's coming in. So as you're going back and forth between turning toward, letting your attention land, letting it flow, and then letting your body respond, notice if there's any place that you leave out of that. Is there, I think for a lot of us, it's our faces, because we kind of keep a social face. So if you were to actually let your face respond, you know, it would be like, imagine doing that in the middle of a meeting on Zoom where you're kind of, you know, you're kind of doing So this is also a very, it's a revolutionary way of doing pattern interrupt, because I think that the reason we have so many zombie movies right now is because people are losing their bodies. And my whole life I've been passionate about people enjoying the value of letting your body move spontaneously. And actually there's research too that the most effective movement, they were saying about how dancing is so good for you. Well, the thing that's really, really good for you is spontaneous movement. So, and that's what so many of us do when we go to ecstatic dance. That's all about spontaneous movement. Now, you don't have to go to you don't have to go to the studio and have the special music to do that. You can be letting yourself do spontaneous movement throughout your day. And I notice, kids do that all the time, but we get it taught out of us, like stop that, pay attention. We're taught to, and I was taught to sit still and try to learn something, which was, impossible, which made me a terrible student for 3 years until Mrs. Morgan told me I could sit in the back of the class and move as much as I wanted to. So I think that for all of us, there's a hidden mover that is wanting to just express whenever, on the sidewalk, in the grocery store. I've actually, as I've been going along, sometimes at stoplights, especially, when I've been in a new car, and we just got a new car yesterday. We replaced we have an electric Mustang, and for reasons I won't go into, but we replaced it, and it is the most beautiful color. So I haven't taken it out in public yet, but I'm prepared for lots of people to storm the car and go, oh my God. So when you're out in public, you can be a source of connection, of flow, of spontaneity, so that in the midst of all of this, we can open up our ability to connect, to let our body wisdom support us. And just notice if you're feeling more flow of aliveness now, if you're feeling more connected to you, if you're feeling more connected, yes, to, and also what might want to come next. So we're in so much unexpected right now that the flow of connection and the flow movement is what allows us to really feel our aliveness, to experience our aliveness. And we also know eyes, you can't see unless something is moving. Your eyes need movement in order to register. So movement's at the very heart of our aliveness. And that's one of the ways that society squashes you, is saying, stop it, only move this way, in the ways that we want you to move. So I would just love to see, wouldn't it be great if, behind a public figure, there's always these frozen people back there, the statues that are behind them. And what if those people were just grooving and enjoying? So I invite you to be benign disruptors this week, where you let your own spontaneity interrupt the sort of the drone or the despair or the oh my God. So in the midst of everything, you're in charge of your own aliveness. So let's take a look at our card and apply all of that. So let yourself flow out into the card, letting yourself land in there. Letting your body respond, and then bringing what you're noticing back into your own body and letting that move through you, letting your body respond, and let yourself shift your attention in that way while I read this to you. I initiate conversations with authentic expression as well as responding to others' initiations. I initiate conversations with authentic expression as well as responding to others' initiations. I just realized that's exactly what we were just doing. It's just giving it in other words. I love that, where everything comes together like that. So for me, and I think for a lot of us, I was trained to wait. Not to initiate, to wait to see if there was room, wait for the right time, see if everybody else had been served first. So if you have any of that, notice what's the impulse to initiate? Where does that arise in you? For me, it is literally an uprising energy, is kind of a a flow upward, a little bit of a fountaining. And being willing to initiate then allows you to co-create rather than waiting for somebody to come up with a good idea. And I bet between all of us on this call, we have a lot more good ideas than what's being operated on right now. So I want you to feel free to share your good ideas. And here's the question. How can I source and initiate authentic speaking in any situation? Whoa. For example, initiating real communications without having to be begged, threatened, or coerced. That's in the response to, how are you? Fine. What's going on? Nothing. Like when we were kids, we'd come back home and my mom would say, where'd you go? Out. What'd you do? Nothing. So rather than being in that kind of drone world, your ability to initiate, that all comes from favoring spontaneity, favoring the impulse, favoring including your body and all of the things that are going on in your body. So that's one thing I'd love to have you play this with this week, is initiating and feeling, where does initiating come from? And how can I notice maybe even the subtlest initiations? So noticing that, my friend just came into my mind. I think I'll send a text and see how what's happening right this moment. And when those things have occurred to me, they've always been of value. So let's come on back to the big group, because the most of the signals in the world right now are so loud, and they're drowning out those subtler, the buds. This is springtime in many parts of the world, not in all of the world, but in many parts of the world, the buds need space to emerge, and they're often very subtle, and they don't look anything like they're going to look when they get full grown. And so initiating is often there's just a little nudge. So I'd like to invite you just right now, if you were to get the impulse to initiate, how might that arrive? So for me, it is often sort of, it's in my face and it's around my ears. There's just a little pulsing that I can feel. So my sense is if you're waiting for a really like, hi, hey, big semaphores and signals, it's probably not going to come that way. So one thing that might be fun and valuable for you this week is to tune into what are those subtlest signals to initiate. And when I initiate, I'm co-creating my world. So I'm not waiting for something better to happen. I'm going to initiate and then co-create, and we genuinely will create something different. And so to assist you in that, I'm going to just turn to our Presence Connect play for today. I always like it when it says tap for a new combo, and I have this little, ooh, what's going to come up here? Tap for a new combo. Oh, of course, it's perfect. You're going to love this when it comes to, I want you to know, I just pushed the button once, and so this is what came up. So presence is breathe easy. So for me, rather than, sometimes people will say, slow down your breathing. And for me, I get a little rebellious if people tell me what to do. It's one of the reasons I've been an entrepreneur for all these years, is because I don't like anybody telling me what to do. But when people say, slow your breathing down, when I hear breathe easy, that's such a difference. So breathe easy. Oh, it can be easy. Breathing can be easy. Life can be easy. So let your body just respond to that invitation to breathe easy. And what I find is just an expanded breath. So rather than an up-down breath, I get a wider breath with breathe easy. So just notice what happens for you with breathe easy. And if you were encountering somebody who's in a kerfuffle, I invite you to invite them to breathe easy. And if you breathe easy around other people who are in it's contagious. So we know that fear is contagious, but we don't have quite as much experience with sharing how easy breathing can be. And then connect. Rather than seeing other people as idiots, or enemies, which is very tempting right now, appreciate everyone as a work of art. So being willing to see each of us as unique works of art. And what I like to add to that is evolving works of art. Rather than would you want to, when somebody is filming something and they stop it right in the middle, or they're taking a picture of you and they get, would you like to have the world know you as so if you're appreciating people as an evolving work of art that and breathe easy, then we're all in process. And if we take a picture of us at any given point in time, we might go, oh my God, something's missing, or this could open up, or why didn't you? But we're on a journey where we're still being molded, we're still being sculpted, we're still emerging. And if you would be willing to see everyone as an evolving work of art, I'm imagining that if I look at you and I see you as a work of art, it was reminding me of that study that was done years ago where a photographer took pictures of people, and he would take the first picture and then he would tell them how beautiful they were and take the second picture. Really stunning. Now, it doesn't have to be your favorite kind of art. You don't have to be the arbiter and the judger of all of the works of art. Oh, I like that one, but that one goes in the garage. But all of us, as we're evolving works of art, our job is to give our sensitive awareness. Doesn't have to give our approval. So that invitation, I think, could really shift our communications and our co-creation with our fellow humans with whom we may not agree. Play. This one is so powerful. I'm so glad this one came up because it has to do with what we were just doing in the first part of the call. Play is go in the direction of flow. Go in the direction of flow. So almost everything we say to ourselves is stop it. Like, calm down, wait a minute, don't be so. So it's so for me, when I was learning how to be with people in exploration, that was the most difficult for me, was to take people, if someone was stuck, I would want to help them get unstuck. But what I learned was that if I don't go in the direction of the flow, that is, how are you stucking yourself? And let's do that a little bit more so you can feel into how you are creating the stuckness. Then often an organic shift would occur just out of going with. So if somebody's going and you're trying to calm them down, what if you just went in the direction of the flow, which is when someone is feeling, support them in feeling more. And then we open up to that flow can be our friend. That flow takes us in the direction of integration and wholeness. So those, I think, are going to be 3 really powerful things for you to play with this week. That was so fun. Oh, and I also, some of you didn't see several weeks ago, in fact, I don't know if I can even get this out of here, but I'm going to pull it out so you can see it. Because we need to clean it out now. I came in several weeks ago to pull out the drawer in my studio, and there we go. So this is what I found. So a bird had created a net. I mean, look at this construction. And 2 little birdies created this whole thing. It's got little feathers in it too, and little soft stuff in the middle. And it has the remainders of, there was an egg in there and a bird in there. So I'm going to keep this out so we can, so the creativity, things happening, the unexpected going on all the time. And when we can meet that with going with the flow, letting our attention shift, landing, letting your body respond, you're part of what is becoming, and you have choice here. So thank you so much for being here and connecting, because this is the heart of this, is that we get to connect and we get to love and support each other. So thank you for being here to do that, and please stay on the call to share as long as you would like to, and much love to you. Mwah! Until next time, bye now.